Hi, welcome to this part of my review featuring crime-fighting luchadores. If you haven't seen part 1 of my review, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about combat, character creation, and everything else. And I'm going to give you my final thoughts on this tabletop RPG. Let's start with combat. Vitality points, or VPs, represent a luchador's health, combativeness, and will to fight. When they drop down to 0, your character is out of commission, too severely injured to continue on their journey. They aren't dead. True heroes never die, but they have to leave the battle and rest for the rest of the episode. So this is just like El Santos films. The luchadores there take some horrible blows to the head, and they are usually just knocked out and they get up later on. Luchadores start the game with 10 VPs. Some archetypes have more, though, and that number can be raised when your character levels up. Let's talk about initiative. To determine initiative, you roll a d6. On a 1, 2, or 3, the enemy goes first. On a 4, 5, or 6, it's the luchadores. A round starts when initiative is resolved and finishes when everybody has acted once, players and enemies. During their turn, everybody involved in the fight can move and make an action. Attack, use a psychic power, use an asset, hide, interact, etc. The move action can be taken before or after the action. Player characters who want to run can use their action to move again. The referee informs the players on how much ground they can cover by their move action, depending on the situation, environment, etc. When it comes to the attack roll, whenever the players want to attack, they simply roll 2 6-sided dice, as for any other check. They then can add their muscles skill bonus, if any, and or any bonus granted by a relevant asset, such as a close combat weapon, special item, etc. If you roll a natural 2, it's a fumble. The attack misses and the luchador suffers damage. 7 and under, it's a miss. 8 or more, it's a success. A natural 12 is a critical. The enemy suffers double damage. Don't forget that players can spend some of their resolve points after they roll their 2d6. However, note that a pair of natural ones always counts as a fumble, and there's no way to negate that. Also note that luchadores never use firearms. This goes against their dedication to the noble art of wrestling. This is erroneous because El Santo sometimes uses a gun, even a flamethrower. Blue Demon in El Santo versus the Guanajuato Mummies? Yes, I think that's the correct film. They use flamethrowers there. But okay, moving on. Finally, the referee always has the last word concerning the use of a certain asset in a fight. Let's talk about damage. The damage inflicted by a normal attack is equal to 1 plus the character level plus muscles bonus plus asset bonus, if any. For example, Broken Bone is a level 2 luchador with 2 dots in muscles and wearing brass knuckles, which is plus 1 damage. When he successfully attacks, he inflicts 6 points of damage because it's 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1. Another option offered to luchadores during combat is the use of special moves. They have several nuances to them. For example, each special move can only be used once per fight. Each special move costs a certain amount of stamina points. And if you fill your stamina bar completely, you lose 1 vitality point. Start a new stamina bar and report exceeding stamina points spent to the new bar. And so forth. There are several prerequisites, but once you pull off a special move, it usually ends the fight, or rescues you from certain defeat. There are also special abilities that the enemies may use. Enemies don't roll to hit in crime-fighting luchadores. Instead, whenever a player character gets targeted by an attack, they make an acrobatics check to try to dodge the attack. It's important to note that sometimes you need to run away. This is based on your acrobatics plus assets. There are also rules for player versus player combat. It is quite common in luchador films to see the protagonists engage in friendly competitions. So here you can do that in crime-fighting luchadores, just like in some luchador films, so you can easily implement those situations in crime-fighting luchadores, with the first player to tap out losing the match. When it comes to character creation, it is very simple. You choose an archetype such as the Star, beloved by everyone, has allies everywhere. Perhaps the Mentor, who starts with a sidekick. Maybe the Spook, who is touched by the supernatural. So there are several of these archetypes. They all have special qualities, abilities, characteristics, very simple to handle during play. When it comes to drive and allies, you randomly determine this. You also determine your assets randomly, and your psychic powers and mutations if your luchador has those. Your special move is also determined randomly. Maybe you start with the backbreaker or la quebradora, as we call it in Mexico. Or perhaps the brain buster. Maybe the cobra clutch slam. You also randomly determine your allies. Perhaps a librarian. Maybe a private eye. Maybe a wrestling agent. You also determine your headquarters randomly. And there is even a Royal Rumble move, which is a special move employed by all of the members of the team at the same time. You can randomly determine enemies for the session or the campaign, such as the Bath Salt Psycho, the Biker Werewolf, perhaps the Chainsaw-wielding Cannibal. All of the enemies here are properly statted, but you also have tips and advice on how to create your own enemies. And there are also details on how to create the Super Beast, the most powerful enemy. You can randomly determine everything about it, including the Super Beast drive generator. You can also randomly determine rumors and adventure sparks. There's also information on how to handle clues, how to, when to, and where to place them during a session. You also have tips and advice on episode structure. You also have details on spawning clues, of course, how to generate interesting locations, how to apply complications, and information on character progression and campaign play, how to level up, develop your skills, perhaps obtain a new ally, an asset, and the implementation of keywords. When your luchador levels up, he or she will become more skilled or capable in various areas, perhaps while climbing, maybe during social interactions, maybe when protecting someone, or reducing the damage taken. And this concludes my review of Crime Fighting Luchadores. What do I think about it? It is excellent. It has that Mexican spice, seasoning or sazon that makes it so colorful, so vibrant. The rules are very simple. It's very fun to create your luchadores, and because they are randomly generated, that is, the powers, the skills, the assets, you never know what you are going to be role-playing as in each one-shot or campaign. The enemies are very fun, they are cheesy, and quite awesome in their powers and characteristics. And there are so many random tables. There is already the Luchador Hero solo RPG. If you haven't seen my review, please check out the link in the description of this video. But if you wanted a more complex experience, perhaps you could combine some of the results from these random tables in Crime Fighting Luchadores and use them with Luchador Hero. Or play Crime Fighting Luchadores with your favorite Game Master emulator. And when it comes to luchadores not being able to use firearms in this tabletop RPG, maybe it's a specific code that the luchadores in this setting use, right? Maybe it's specific to this tabletop RPG. So, my highest recommendation, get Crime Fighting Luchadores. Thank you for watching this review, and thank you for your likes and your comments. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. This has been Abraham El Jaguar, a professional game master. If you want me to run a game for you, please check out the pinned comment below. And remember, roleplay solves everything. Once again, thank you and see you later.